He woke up alone. The side of the bed where I should have been was cold, sheets tucked tight as though I'd never existed. He blinked into the morning silence, searching the room like a man just realizing his oxygen mask wasn't on. And I smiled, quietly, from the kitchen, where I'd already packed the last of my things. He didn't know it yet, but his world was already over. Backstory set up. When I met Daniel, he was magnetic. He looked at me as though I was the only person in the room, even when I wasn't speaking. He remembered the smallest things, my favorite pen, the way I hated carnations. I mistook attention for devotion. I mistook charm for character. I built a life with him on that mistake. The kind of life where you forget to notice the little cracks forming because you're too busy polishing the picture frame. But cracks have a way of growing. And one night, at someone else's wedding, they split wide enough to swallow me whole. Discovery of betrayal. It was a simple evening. Strings of lights, clinking glasses, a dance floor soaked in champagne. He had promised me the night before that he couldn't wait to hold me close, to dance like we used to. But the moment we walked in, his eyes locked on her. His coworker, blonde, loud, spinning in her silver dress like she was the center of every orbit. He laughed louder with her than I'd heard in months. His hand rested casually on the small of her back. I stood there in my burgundy gown, forgotten, while his world narrowed to her orbit. Then someone asked the question, "Daniel, you're married, right?" And without hesitation, without even glancing at me, he chuckled. "Not really. It doesn't count when she's not interesting." The laughter was thunder. My face was a mask. I didn't cry, I didn't move. I let the silence settle inside me like a blade cooling in water. That was the moment I stopped being his wife. Shift in mindset. I didn't confront him that night. No drunken arguments, no begging for scraps of his loyalty. I slipped into silence, colder than glass. I let him believe I was still the same obedient shadow trailing behind him. But I had already begun planning. Betrayal is a wound, yes, but it's also a weapon if you sharpen it, and I sharpened mine. Execution of the plan. Step 1 was information. I started with his phone bills, bank statements, the files he never thought I'd touch. I built a map of his life without him realizing I was watching. I learned about the late-night dinners he claimed were work meetings, the hotel charges under her name, the gifts he bought with money he said we couldn't spare. Step 2 was preparation. I met with a lawyer in secret, quiet lunches, plain clothes. I gathered proof like ammunition, neatly organized in folders that could burn his career to ash if I chose. Step 3 was withdrawal. I funneled my paycheck into a separate account. I rerouted my mail. Piece by piece, I dismantled the life we shared until I could walk away without leaving even a fingerprint behind. And then I waited. Climax and confrontation. The morning after the wedding, he stumbled into the kitchen. His tie was loose, his eyes bloodshot. He looked at me the way a man looks at furniture, expecting it to be there, silent, functional. "You're quiet," he muttered, pouring coffee as if he hadn't just reduced me to a joke in front of strangers. I slid a folder across the table. He frowned, opened it, and froze. Printed emails, photos, receipts. A neat summary of every lie he'd told in the past 6 months. His hand trembled. "What is this?" "Proof," I said. My voice was calm, like ice breaking. "Proof that when I walk away, I'll take more than just my silence." He tried to laugh it off, that same careless laugh that once charmed me. But his eyes betrayed him. He knew. He knew what losing me meant. Legally, financially, socially. "I can explain," he stammered. I leaned closer, and for the first time in years, he couldn't look at me. "Don't bother. You already explained. Last night." "Not really. That's what you said." He flinched like the words were bullets. I stood, collected my bag, and left him there, surrounded by the wreckage of his own arrogance. resolution and emotional release. I didn't take revenge by screaming or smashing glasses or begging him to choose me. My revenge was quieter, more elegant. I left him with nothing but the echo of his own words. A man defined by his laughter, silenced by the realization that he was the joke. By noon, the locks on the new apartment clicked shut behind me. My name was already off the joint accounts. My lawyer had the divorce papers ready. For the first time in years, I breathed. I realized my worth wasn't something he could measure, dismiss, or joke about. My worth was in the silence I kept, the strength I held, and the way I walked away while he finally understood what it meant to lose something real. He told them I wasn't interesting, but